Okay, joined with Mike and Forsey ahead of today's game against Darlo Town at home in the league. Mike, you were the only manager present, obviously with Forsey being absent on Saturday. You just want to walk us through the first half. We all know it was a bit of a shambles, but the second half it was some kind of, I don't know, rejuvenated side that came out.
Yeah, obviously first half we just weren't good enough. We weren't at the races, we didn't create, we didn't do the off the ball stuff, quality on the ball, so it was just a really poor performance first half. We had words, some were choice with each other and what we wanted to rectify, which was pretty much all of it, and our disappointment in what we produced in that half. And it's no good, putting your head down because it doesn't go away, so we have to man up and kind of get on with it, and that's what we did second half. Really scored really quickly second half, which was the perfect tonic for what we just had to deal with, and we just grew from strength to strength. The conditions at South Moor, it was quite windy, the pitch is really compact, and it'd be tough for anybody to go to South Moor and play on their pitch because of the way it is, but it's not going to go anywhere, and if we have to go again, we know exactly what we're up against, so we have to adapt, and it took us 45 minutes to do that, but thankfully we did, in good style, but there's loads of improvements to be made, even on the second half performance, if truth be told, and it'll be required tonight, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of tonight, obviously it's Darlo Town, Stephen, top of the league, 11 wins from 13 and 2 draws. Sounds like a momentous record, doesn't it, when you put it into perspective? What have we got to do tonight to try and take 3 points off an unbeaten side?
I think before Mike's kind of touched on it, you've got to be good at everything, haven't you? And I guess maybe to an extent you've got to hope that they have a bit of an off day. But don't want to absolutely, loads of credit to them for knocking that kind of run together. Obviously they're last year's champions and they've carried on in the same kind of vein of form as the Heat at the end of last season. So all credit to them. But let's not kind of sell ourselves short, I suppose, is what I'm saying. Yeah, we're probably the underdogs going into the game, but I would like to think that whatever happens, whatever way the result goes or the scoreline is, that that they come off and know they've been in a game and that they've had to work for whatever it is that they might get, and that we can look ourselves in the eye and say, yeah, we did everything we can and we made it as hard as possible for them. And if we can do that, I say it all the time, but I fancy us against any side. But you've got to do it. It's an easy thing to say. It's a much harder thing to do.
Yeah, Mike. Going from last game, obviously we had a few players missing. A few players come back into the side tonight. We've stood on back in the nets replacing this big sexy man behind the camera. We've also got Ben Graham coming back into the side. What the change like that mean for the team coming up against such a team like Darlo Town?
Well, first thing, it just gives us that bit more depth. You know what I mean? Because there's plenty of nights where we've had 2 and 3 on the bench. We want the full bench, but at the same time, the quality can be boosted, you know what I mean, massively, and it enables me and Forsey to, if we feel that we can make a change, sometimes like for like, sometimes we haven't been able to actually make that, square pegs in round holes sometimes, and I'm not complaining about that, but it's a luxury, I feel. That's what we're having when we get that, and it is that, I'm not joking, because there's loads of ability right through the squad. I think it's
credit to yourself as well, Panda, for obviously you stepped in for those couple of games and did a cracking job, obviously come back off injury, and so you had a taste of it as well, and like I say, Stud's coming back in, another quality goalkeeper that we're lucky to have, so
yeah, absolutely, as I say, Stud's will bring some experience, he's played in this league a long time, and it's invaluable on nights like this, but let's not forget, I don't know, I'll go back like that when I played. I mean, these are the games you want to play in. I'm not saying that you can't get up to beat the bottom of the league side or anything like that. But if you can't get up especially when they come over unbeaten, to put your hand up to be in with a shout, to take the scalp, to be the first one to do it, and that's what we're aiming to do. Let's not beat about the bush here, but that's what we're aiming to do. That's what I'm aiming to do. That's what Stephen's aiming to do. You know, but let's walk the walk as well as talk the talk. You know, that's what you've got to do, isn't it? So.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Stephen, just finally to wrap things off, home form is very important in this league, and being a team that plays far away from the rest of the other sides, it kind of becomes more valuable to us. Having already picked up 2 defeats at home this season, is it important that we turn things around tonight and try not to lose another game at home, or even draw for that matter?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've said on here before that your home form, for those reasons that you've just sort of mentioned, becomes even more important. Let's say, right, if you're going to play the team that's top of the league, unbeaten, would you rather play them on a Wednesday night or a Saturday? You know, you'd pick a Wednesday, wouldn't you? Because it's more difficult for them. Home form is really important, and kind of just again touching on what Mike said, you've got to see these games as massive opportunities to put a marker down.
Join with Mike and Forsey after there's a 5-1 defeat to Darlington Town. Forsey, do you want to sum that one up for us?
Really tough to take. We're gutted really, because 5-1. It sounds like you've had a bit of a thrashing, and that absolutely wasn't the case. And there's no better sort of judge of that than the reaction of the Darlington players in there now, celebrating like they've won the World Cup. They've had to work really hard for that. They've scored 2 incredible free kicks. Fair play to them. But the game was on a balance till maybe 10 minutes left, when we sort of caved a little bit. I'm disappointed with some of the decisions that didn't go our way today. Key moments, I didn't feel like the balance of the decisions was right. I'm not necessarily blaming that, for the reason that we've lost, but I think it was a key factor, and that's not something I think I've ever said kind of on here before. First half we were absolutely superb. It's probably the best 45 we put together, and we came in 2-1 down. Just couldn't find that bit of luck, and I think it's right to say, when you're top of the league and you're flying like they are, them things just seem to go for you. On reflection, excellent first half, dropped in the second half, but by no means to a poor standard, and got punished, at key times, which kind of took the wind out of our sails a bit.
Yeah, Mike, obviously, from that performance today, like Forsey said, we were largely on top for the first half, and we did drop off, but we were still there in the second half. Does it show what kind of level this team's at? When we know like teams like Darlington obviously bringing players with pay packets.
We've talked about this and levels and things like that. I'd like to be standing here talking on the back of a win, and at the end of the day, we haven't won the game. We've got to be realistic, and until we start doing that against the top sides, well, we can't claim to be, as good as them. I mean, they've got an outstanding individual up front. I feel that, he was a bit of a match winner for them. But, when you start converting, I can be the best passer in the world, but if I don't score the goals, and I'm the best defender in the world, but if we don't score the goals at the end of the day, we don't win the games. We can't stand here and say, look, we're the better side than Darlington. But I've no doubt in the ability. The first half, I'm really gutted for the lads and disappointed, but at the same time, I thought there was loads in it for us. I thought there was a way back for us. And the first 45 is probably the best 45 I've been involved with in managing the club. And but until we start turning the losses into wins, no, we can't stand here and sit and look down on anybody else. So no.
Absolutely. Stephen, finally, just to wrap things up, Norton at home Saturday, another big game against another high-flying team. What are you expecting?
Well, I don't know, to be honest, because obviously, you're looking at the league table. I think they were 4th last time. I think they've attracted some new players, kind of what you're on the rumour mill, but I'm not surprised. They've got an excellent setup over there, and yeah, I think we have to expect kind of the same again, because to get within that top 5 in this league, we know how hard that is. We came really close last year, sat in 6th, 5th, for large majority of the season, and just couldn't make that next step up. And so if they're there now, they're there on merit. So yeah, I think we have to expect the same again, but absolutely nothing to fear, and if we can bring what we brought today, particularly in our first half, then we should be okay.
Yeah, Mike, finally, for you, step back or step forward?
I think when we dust ourselves down and we've got the VO there, which is worth its weight in gold on nights like this, I think we can pick the bones out of it, and I really think we can take some real positivity out of the first half, you know, and even the second half we were in the fight, you know, and so I think it's a step forward, but it's difficult for me to say that right now because obviously I'm really disappointed with the scoreline and that we haven't come away with anything. So, but you know, in terms of performance levels and what we showed, particularly in the first half, I think it was a step forward, and quite a few of their lads acknowledged it. But, you know, it was a tough game for long periods of the game, and you know that's fair play to their honesty. But yeah, I think step forward for me.
Spot on.
Hopefully more Saturday.
Thanks, Jez.
Cheers.